When we simulate robots, the better we can make the simulated world reflect the real world, the more accurate and useful our simulations are going to be. Today, we're going to be looking at how to build a custom world in the new Gazebo. Specifically, I'm going to be using Gazebo Harmonic version 8.7.0 on Ubuntu Noble and ROS Jazzy, although we won't be using any ROS stuff in this video. I specifically note that I'm using 8.7 because I put this video off until it was released on the repos, because 8.6 had a bug that made adding objects much more difficult. But I didn't get it finished in time for Christmas, and hopefully you're all upgraded to the new version now anyway. If you want to know about how Gazebo fits in with ROS, you can check out the previous video, but in this one, we'll be focusing on how to build a world file, importing models, and so on. Thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. We'll start Gazebo from the terminal by running gzsim, and I'm going to add -- verbose 3 just to get extra printouts at detail level 3. If you don't specify it, it'll be 3 automatically, but it kind of breaks the argument passing, so I'll put it in there. And we'll select an empty world. The first thing we can add are some basic primitives. I'm going to choose a cube, and you can either pick it from up in the toolbar, or down here in the entity tree we click plus. We can see there's some models, also some lights. Lights are important, but we already have a default light in the scene. So I'm going to click box and add that to the scene. You can then use these other buttons up here to change modes. So this is for translate and rotate. So we can select our cube, move it around, rotate, and so on. Let's put it up in the air. We can play the simulation. It falls down. You can go up here to see the pose of the box, so we could change that manually. You can also drill down into the tree and see the link position, the visuals, and so on. We're going to go into the visual here, click material, and this lets us change the color. Usually it's the diffuse color we want to change, so let's make it a nice green color. Sometimes a world made of cubes is fine, especially if you're just getting started and trying things out, but we usually want something that looks a bit more like the real world. And the easiest way to start making our world more realistic is to use publicly available models. If you head over to app.gazebosim.org/fuel/models, you can see pages and pages of them. Some are made by Open Robotics, but you can also upload your own ones. Sometimes the website works well, sometimes it's a little bit glitchy. Now, if you click on someone's name, you can actually see all of the models that have been made by them. And to start off with, I want to use some models from Open Robotics. So I'm going to go up to the URL here and change this to Open Robotics. We can see all their models and find one that we like. Let's go for Breakfast Menu Original. So let's click on it. We should be able to see some pictures. We can click this 3D button here, and sometimes it takes a minute to load properly. All right, and we get a nice little preview here in the browser, and we think, yep, that's a model we want. How do we get it into our world? There's a few different ways, but probably the easiest one is to go back into Gazebo and open up the resource spawner. So we scroll down here, and we can see it's loading up all the models that are from Open Robotics on the Fuel website. As it loads, you can see the count here going up, which it has to refresh every time you open Gazebo. I'm not sure if there's a way to cache it, but it is a bit frustrating, especially for people with slower internet or computers. And you can also see there's no thumbnails here unless you've already downloaded the model. So this browser isn't so useful if you don't know what you're looking for, but that's why we look for it on the website first. We go Breakfast Menu Original, and then it's right there, but we can type breakfast, click download. It'll now go ahead and start downloading it in the background. We can have a look at our terminal, and it should print what it's doing. It's funny that after making a fuss about it, I was actually on 8.6 on this computer. I forgot to upgrade it, and now I have installed the latest, which it turns out is 8.8. So we'll go again. I'll quickly rebuild my scene. Hopefully it's actually downloading this time. That looks good. And there we go, we've got a nice little thumbnail, so we should be able to put our little breakfast tray in the scene. There we go. If you find a model that you like from a different user, say OpenRMF, you can just type their name into the box and press add, and it should load up the cache for their models. To move further, it helps to understand what we've just done under the hood. So let's save our world. So we're going to go save world. We'll just pop it on the desktop for now, call it my world. Sometimes you'll have an option here to force it to have the .sdf extension, but let's just do that. And then click OK. We'll see what those other options are for in a minute. And then we'll use VS Code to open that file. At this point, it's worth talking about SDF files. SDF stands for Simulation Description Format, and it's an XML-based format that Gazebo uses to set up its simulations. It has a lot in common with URDF, which is often used for ROS robots, and there are ways you can automatically convert between the two when you're spawning robots and so on. But for this video, we're going to focus on SDF by itself. The other thing worth knowing is that in the old Gazebo, world files often had the extension .world, but were actually just SDF files, which was a bit confusing. So now the standard is to always just end the file with .sdf, but sometimes have the word world in the name. Now, it helps here if we tell VS Code that this is actually an XML file. It doesn't know because of the extension. And let's see what we've got here. So there's a bunch of stuff at the start. Then the first model here is our default ground plane. And then we've got our box. So we can see we've got the pose of the box. And then just like any SDF or URDF, it has inertial, collision, and visual information. It looks like this version still has a bug where even though we made our box green, you can see here the diffuse is 0.7, 0.7, 0.7, which is actually grey. So if we were to reload this up, our cube is not going to be green anymore. It's going to be grey. I should probably put in an issue or a pull request for that. And if we collapse the model tag for the box, we should see the next one just says include. So this is our breakfast tray, and you can see it's just got a URI, which is pointing to, it looks like it's a real URL on the internet, but it's actually just a file on our computer. And then it's got a name for it in the tree and then the pose. If we copy the first part of this URI, we can actually see where that is on our computer. So you can see here is a model.sdf, it's got some meshes and that sort of thing. Now sometimes we're building our SDF file directly in XML rather than dragging things around in Gazebo. And if we want to include a model that way, we can go here and there's this little bit here that says copy SDF snippet to clipboard. So we click that, go back into VS Code, and if we paste, you'll see it's basically the same thing but without the name and the pose, and you can go and just add those in for yourself. So that's an easy way to import the model into your XML. Now, I actually meant to get a different model for that one, so let's go for this pump model instead. So I'm going to put that in there, save, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close Gazebo and relaunch it with the path to our world file. Now you can see it kind of just isn't loading properly to start with, and that's because in the background it should be downloading that pump model. And once it's finished loading it, there we go. We've got our old thing. As I expected, our cube is now grey, but we've got this lovely pump model imported. And so because it's caching all of these models here on our local system, then every time we close and reopen, it should be fast and not have to download it again each time. So what was that include tag really doing? One way we could find out is to find that file on our file system and have a look inside this model.sdf. But the other thing we can do, when we're saving our world in Gazebo, if we go save world as, I'm going to find our one from before, but my world expand. And then if we tick expand include tags, if we then look at the my world expand, tell it it's XML, and scroll down, you'll see here where we had our include before, we now get the fully expanded SDF of the breakfast menu and the pump. So you can see it's got the geometry, the collision, the inertial, and so on. And this should be pretty much exactly the content that's in here, except it does some smarts to expand the URLs of the meshes and that sort of thing so that it all works. The next thing we'll look at is how to import your own custom 3D models. But first I want to let you know about this video sponsor, PCBWay. When it's finally time to take your robot out of the simulation and into the real world, PCBWay is your first port of call. As well as manufacturing all different kinds of PCBs, they offer fabrication services like 3D printing, sheet metal, and CNC. It's an entire manufacturing pipeline at your fingertips. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I was chatting with my relatives over Christmas dinner, and they were telling me how their company uses PCBWay as part of their R&D pipeline, and just how impressed they were at the results. So whether you're a hobbyist or a big tech company, check out the link down in the description to see how PCBWay can help you. Now, using other people's models only gets us so far. We want to be able to design our own models in CAD or Blender and add them to our world. So I'm going to quickly go and design a model in Blender. And I'm going to export it as an OBJ file. Now at this point, it would be really nice if you could just go into the entity tree, click plus, mesh. At this point I look confused because on my other computer, it actually wouldn't let me import OBJ files, only Collada. I thought it might have been a version difference, but it's just a bug on my other computer. And look at that, there's our monkey straight in there. And that should have everything working, so if we drag it up and press play, hopefully it'll bounce around, physics and everything. Now what I was going to show you was how to do it manually. So if we go back into here and find, say, the pump one, let's copy and paste the model block from the pump. And then for the mesh URI, we just want to take the path to our mesh. Get rid of the material section. And then if we close Gazebo and reopen it, with my world expand, and we better name this guy monkey. There we go, there's our monkey typed in manually. Now, here's a good point I've been meaning to highlight. Sometimes, if you're not careful, things will spawn at the origin and they'll be sticking below the ground plane. Then when you press play, it's all crazy. If you ever import a model and you're confused and you're like, where it is, always just remember to look underneath. Sometimes they'll somehow end up below the ground. Now, the advantage of doing it manually is we can go in and change the properties of the inertia and any other characteristics of the model that we want. And to reuse that model, we can do what those public models did and create a separate model.sdf file. The easiest way to do that is to copy one of those ones. So you can either find it back in that Gazebo path here, or what we can do is when we're on the web page here, we can click download and it'll give us a zip file. Oop, there we go. Clearly it's just a bit too slow. And if we extract that zip file, we can see this is exactly the same as what would be in that other directory. And we can take that model.sdf, and you can see it's very similar to a world file. It's just that instead of having the world tag at the top here inside the SDF, we just go straight for a model tag. So let's take all of this, copy and paste it. We'll create a new text file. We're going to call ours monkey. And then these paths can now be relative to where we'll put our model SDF. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting it in that monkey directory that I made before. So the mesh is just called monkey.obj. We'll use the same mesh for collision and visual. And we'll get rid of the whole material section for now, but you can use this to make more complex materials. And then I'm going to save this in desktop monkey model-.sdf. And then if we go back to our first My World here, the one before we expanded the includes, we can just change this. We'll call the name My Monkey. And then the folder path here is just going to be that home deck desktop monkey. So now hopefully, if we relaunch Gazebo with the non-expanded world. Oh, what have I messed up? Oh, okay, it's missing the model.config file. So if we go back to that pump download, we want to put the model name in here, monkey model.sdf, put your own name in here, and then we'll go save as. We'll put that in our monkey folder. So now our monkey folder has the model.config and the model.sdf. So it's going to look at the config file. The config file is going to tell us that the SDF lives in model.sdf. And then hopefully, when we launch Gazebo, there's our world with the monkey in it, named My Monkey now. And then what you can do, because you've got your model all bundled up in this nice little way, you can go ahead and go onto the Fuel website, click plus, and you can upload that model for other people to use, which is a really helpful way to contribute back to the community. Sometimes we want to download other people's worlds. And so if we go back to this page and we'll go to the Open Robotics account and go to the Worlds tab, we can choose something interesting. Funnily enough, the harmonic demo world didn't work for me on harmonic, but the ionic one was just fine. So we'll click it, we'll click download. You'll see the file size is really small for this. And that's because all it is an SDF file containing links to a whole bunch of models. So it's going to download those models when we start it up. So I'm going to close Gazebo again. And we're now going to launch it with that ionic world. And this will take a little while to start up while it downloads all the files in the background. While we're waiting for that, we can have a look at some of the other worlds on here. So we've got industrial warehouse, got like a moon base. This world is a cave when it loads. All sorts of weird and wacky environments that you can test your robot in. All right, here we are. So we can see it's this nice little, I don't know, restaurant thing. It looks a little bit futuristic. And we could spawn our robot in here, drive it around, see if it can navigate, detect things, and so on. I hope you found this helpful and that you can go and make all sorts of crazy simulated worlds for your robots. There's a link down in the description to the discussion thread where you can ask questions and show us your worlds. If you did find this helpful, please consider supporting the channel over at Ko-fi or on Patreon. Thanks so much to all the supporters who make this channel possible. Alright, I'll see you next time.